I watched the Stephen Lawrence documentary, The Murder That Changed the Nation, and it took me back to the time because it actually happened on my birthday, April the 22nd, although I didn't hear about it until the following day. I remember it really vividly, and I was staying in South London, in Dulwich at the time, and it felt really close to home. It was really shocking. Everybody was really upset in the area about what was going on, and yeah, it just felt like really awful. Just another, another senseless killing. People did start to feel, well, is there any end to this? Will the police do their job properly? Because there was already a feeling that the police wouldn't do their job properly right from the get-go, really. There'd already been previous incidents like this that weren't properly investigated. I wasn't at all surprised that the police were labelled as institutionally racist. I don't know a time when I ever thought they weren't institutionally racist, although I suppose as a child I probably didn't contemplate it, but certainly by the time I was a teenager, that was pretty apparent if you went into towns or into cities like London. If you mix with lots of different people, if you are aware of what's really going on, yeah, you understand the police are institutionally racist. They still are.
Sir William Macpherson refers to as institutionalised racism in the police and by inference more generally in our society.
Out the corruption, it still goes on. Actually, it's really interesting the way that happened between the Norris family and the police, because what was going on was that Clifford Norris was a police informant in actual fact, and his drug dealings meant that the likes of Davidson and Cole, the detectives, were basically using the drug situation that Clifford was running and recycling those drugs. When he would inform on people, they would go retrieve the drugs, recycle them, put them back on the streets, and also they would take stolen property that they were informed about by Norris, and also make sure that there was money made out of that and shared between them too. So that corruption went on. There's no doubt that corruption still goes on. There's still institutional police racism. There's still police corruption. I can look back and think when I first arrived in London, there was more of a feeling of unity, and there were, anti-racist marches with people all getting together doing reggae and rock and whatever, and that there was more a sense that, it was out of order to be racist, and perhaps with the likes of Nigel Farage and his cronies, that's maybe changed a bit now and people feel a bit more open to be racist. But I can't see that necessarily in relation to Stephen's murder. I think, it's something that's going to stay with people because it's been such a long running saga of an investigation that was clearly corrupt on some level. For it to have gone on that long when they knew the names of the people from the beginning, that will stay there as something that people realise something is terribly wrong, where perhaps the sort of people that would have thought, oh no, there's no institutional racism or something, maybe those people will be swayed more to see that something's wrong. But has it changed? Anything else? Yes, it has now. I don't think life in Britain has got better for black and ethnic minorities in terms of justice. In fact, the justice system has gone down for everybody who hasn't got a lot of money, to be honest, but specifically black and Asian people with crimes such as the Stephen Lawrence situation. No, I don't think anything's got any better. We see the shootings of people like Mark Duggan and then no one held to account, and really we could reel off a whole list of these incidents that would illustrate exactly what I'm saying now. No, nothing's got any better in terms of justice for black and Asian people, black and ethnic minorities.
That happened years ago will continue to happen. And we're seeing that today. There is a knife crime epidemic, and there doesn't seem to be the will to tackle it. I feel that we've taken huge steps in some respects, and in others, pigeon steps.
I think it's nice that there'll be a Stephen Lawrence Day. I'll certainly remember it because it's every year on my birthday. But what I really hope is that it isn't just a day when people reflect, because, well, we can reflect any day, can't we? But let's hope that people actually do something. Maybe donate to Stephen Lawrence Charitable Trust, which does help some cases, justice and so on. So let's hope people do something useful with the day and don't just use it as a kind of day where they just say, oh yes, let's reflect on that situation. Let's hope that maybe it's a day when people decide they're going to do something, take action. She's fought a long and difficult fight against a massive corrupt system, you know, and it's a corrupt system that continues, and all that happens maybe is they learn to cover it better, but it's not, they haven't gone through and rooted out the corruption.
I had to go through all this, and still there's more to come out.
I don't think we'd ever get to the bottom of corruption.
I really do commend Doreen Lawrence. I don't think it was, like, Doreen's been amazing. Neville's obviously had his fight there too. And let's not forget Dwayne as well, you know, who didn't really receive what he should have had in terms of help and support after that day, which would have traumatised any of us and left us with post-traumatic stress disorder. And heaven knows, I don't know the backstory to that. The Lawrence family did not get justice. 2 of the perpetrators have been put in prison. There's still at least 3 others on the outside. But also on top of that, there is what's happened in terms of the network of officers that were involved in covering up that crime. And turns out that D.S. Davidson's daughter also worked in Scotland Yard at the time. So we know this network goes quite a long way, and until all of the people involved in it are held to account, how can we call that justice?